Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, I don't know about you guys listening, but I've recently become fascinated by cryptocurrencies. I remember talking about Bitcoin 5 to 7 years ago, and I discovered that if I had taken the plunge back then and spent £20 or something, I'd now be a millionaire. And more recently, I discovered that I've pretty much missed the boat with Ethereum too, but I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And I've been investigating which of the virtual currencies I should invest in. And if you do think that Bitcoins are just a fad used by the criminal underworld, you, my friends, are greatly misinformed. And each and every one of you listening will soon be hearing names like Ethereum, Ripple and Sia coins much more frequently. And even more important than that is they're getting the backing from the world's biggest businesses and banks. So essentially, it's time to take cryptocurrencies seriously. And with that in mind, tonight's guest created Aragon. Now, Aragon is one of the numerous blockchain startups and projects that have raised capital by creating their own tokens or digital currencies and selling them to the public through ICOs. Now, Aragon aims to show how decentralized organizations can be more efficient, transparent, cost-effective and accountable. But enough of my rambling. This is a fascinating subject, and I think one that everyone should listen to just to prepare themselves for what's coming their way, and one that I guarantee will certainly give you food for thought. So buckle up, hold on tight, because I want to beam your ears all the way to Spain, where Luis from Aragon is waiting to speak with us. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Luis. I'm the co-founder of Aragon, and I'm basically a hacker and programmer. I like to create new stuff. I like to create blockchain stuff, so stuff that basically decentralizes how people work and how people behave, and basically remove power from central authorities and put it back in the hands of people.
I'm incredibly excited to get you on the show tonight because I've recently taken an active interest in cryptocurrencies, and I think much of this is probably because I never bought a Bitcoin 5 to 7 years ago, and they're now approaching $3,000, and I'm kicking myself that if I did pick one up, I would have been a millionaire by now. And equally, Ethereum in January this year was only $8.51 a coin. So I'm going to be asking a few tips later in the show about that. But before I delve into your mind, I want to talk about Aragon. And it's the world's first decentralized management platform for companies. But can you tell the listeners more about Aragon, what it offers, and what makes it unique from everything else out there?
Yeah, Aragon is basically a way to manage, companies and organizations, as you said. And so right now, how the world works is that there are multiple intermediaries that get between people in processes, for example, like the banks or governments or notaries, and they provide friction, and they usually decide if you can interact with another people from another country and all of that. And so what we are doing is we are totally decentralizing that process. We are decentralizing how people organize themselves and how they create value and how they create companies. And so instead of having to go to a notary and, go to open a bank account and, probably wouldn't be able to do a lot of things because of government regulations, with Aragon, you can basically jump in, create a blockchain entity, which is not a legal entity, it's something else that, is in the internet. You can immediately pay people with cryptocurrencies. You can immediately, grant tokens, give shares of your company or whatever to people all around the world, and you can coordinate without the need of a central authority. And it's all put in a beautiful interface. So, managing companies almost feels like, like browsing the web or browsing Instagram. It's so easy.
So I'm curious, what made you build Aragon on Ethereum? Is it because it allowed you to remove those friction points, lengthy processes that you spoke about, and also have governance, fundraising, payroll and accounting essentially all in one place?
Yeah, the reason that made us build Aragon on top of Ethereum is just because, as you said, with Ethereum, you can do a lot of different things that is not only, currency and moving currency. So with Bitcoin, you can just do that. You can basically move currency around, and it's an awesome decentralized currency platform. But Ethereum is something else. Ethereum is a way to create decentralized applications, to create smart contracts that are pieces of code that are executed in a totally trustless way. And so with Ethereum, you can really, you can build a new government, or you can build a new, you can build really whatever you want. You can build a decentralized Uber, decentralized Airbnb. And so Ethereum felt like the perfect platform for us to, create without boundaries.
Now, back in May, your blockchain token sale netted $25 million in under 15 minutes. I mean, that's just insane. But can you tell me about the nerves before that sale and the insanity that then followed?
To be honest, it was very funny because when we were doing the sale, we took care of a lot of details. That couple of months that we prepared the sale, I would say that I didn't do anything else but work. And so we were pretty much stressed out. And then when the time came, people were like thinking that we were, I don't know, in a yacht in Ibiza or something, and we were just stressed out in front of our computers, seeing how a lot of money was thrown at our Ethereum address, and we were just kind of not freaking out, but not happy either. We were just stressed out and making sure that everything was okay and working. But it was crazy. Like, I would say, I'm 21 right now, but I feel like I'm 40 already because I have aged like 20 years in 2 months. It's just terrible.
Now, if we take you back in time a few years, I mean, HackForward awarded you the best underage European hacker at only 15 years of age. So can you tell me a little about where it all began?
Sure. So I got started when I was 12 into the software world, mainly because I wanted to create stuff, and software was like the cheapest and most viable option with my means at the time. And so, coming from a very humble family, software looked like something that you could get started with, like a crappy laptop. And so I did that. I got started with a super crappy laptop. I found out about free software, in part thanks to my father and thanks to the randomness of life. And I love free software. Back in the day when I started to think about it, it was like, these people are organizing and creating things and contributing without thinking about gender or race or whatever. They are just thinking about code and how to make things better, and they don't have any kind of capitalist intention at all. And that to me seemed like something totally foreign that I wanted to be a part of. And so I got started, created my first free software projects, obviously learned how to code, because you have to learn how to code before creating anything. And that was like a years-long process. So when I was 15, I kind of could create stuff that was meaningful, and I created a very cool desktop environment, the thing, that the interface of how you interact with your computer, and I kind of recreated all of that only with web technologies, which at the time were pretty early, and I got awarded this award, and for me it was huge because I got out of Spain. That it's when I was where I was born and raised, and for me that was amazing to meet all of these entrepreneurs in Berlin, in Germany, that were multimillionaires and were pretty successful. And for me that was a huge step, just figuring out that there is world outside of my small village.
Wow, it's amazing how much you've achieved. It's a fantastic story. And obviously a lot of people are talking about cryptocurrencies at the moment, but I think when most people outside of the tech industry think about cryptocurrency, they'll probably think Bitcoin, volatile markets, and a shady underworld. But the reality is something very, very different. I mean, a look at how the world's biggest banks and businesses are investing heavily at the moment should make people take it much more seriously. But do you think we are close to mainstream adoption, or at least understanding of cryptocurrencies?
I think people still need to really understand cryptocurrencies. As you said, there is a lot of, people thinking about that, shady stuff is happening. And the truth is that shady stuff is happening in the world, that has been happening in the world for a lot of time. Yeah. And crypto is just like a super, super, super small fraction of that. So, for example, people are talking about, drug dealers using Bitcoin. And when you look at the big picture, the dollar is the currency that drug dealers use, not Bitcoin. And so we ban the dollar, I don't think so. Like, it's like the internet, basically. People can use it for the good. People can use it for the bad. I'm not saying selling drugs or whatever is a bad thing. I'm just saying that there is usage that you may like or may not. And so I think it's kind of the same. And the cool thing about crypto right now is that a lot of effort is being put into explaining these kind of things, into explaining that users can actually download their wallet, can get started, and it's easy. It's not like a shady thing. It's like well designed, easy to use. Years ago it was like for hackers basically, but now I think that's changing.
Absolutely. And after the dot-com revolution and the rise of cloud computing, it does seem that there's a new type of company that's beginning to emerge now. Businesses without that traditional corporeal and geographical form. And I believe you guys have over 1,100 test organisations already lined up. But can you tell me how Aragon aims to show how decentralised organisations can be more efficient, more transparent, cost-effective and accountable?
Totally. I think right now we have over 5,000 test organizations.
Wow.
It's been growing exponentially. It's crazy. It's just test organizations, people playing. Obviously, nothing real yet. But I think with Aragon, organizations can really be global because we've been talking a lot about globalization and how it happened.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it didn't happen. A small part of it happened, which is that we have the internet. But apart from that, we still live in countries which are pieces of land. We still have to get visas to travel to some countries. For example, a Spanish company cannot hire someone in India and have them on the payroll. So globalization hasn't really happened at all. So with Aragon, we are just, we're just making it happen. So you can pay people, you can include people in your cap table, you can include people in your voting decisions, and they can do it with a click. And it's really so easy. And also so transparent because, there is this problem that emerges in all the economy. That is that you don't really know what's happening in some companies. You don't really know what's happening, where are the internals, if the CEO is being corrupt or not. And with blockchain, it's so easy because you have everything on the on the public blockchain, and you can go there and check it out, or you can even program a script or a bot that can check out for you, and that provides a huge new level of transparency. And there are a couple of organizations in the blockchain industry that are doing that. They are providing transparency reports all the time, and you can just go and check how the money was spent. And I think that's amazing for investors. That's amazing for employees. That's very valuable for everyone.
Now, a friend of mine and a listener of the show, Chris Wharton, is a big fan of yours. He's been following your story for some years now, and he was excited that I'm speaking to you today. And he asked me to ask you what your vision for Web 3.0 is.
I think for the people that are not familiar with Web 3.0, basically is the view of that the internet hasn't really delivered what it promised. And so Web 3.0 is basically saying, hey, let's fix what's wrong with the internet by decentralizing, by truly decentralizing it, by truly decentralizing the applications that were created on top of it. Because if you look at the internet right now, it's pretty much a centralized silo. You have Google, you have Facebook, a few companies here and there, but it's pretty much centralized. And so Web 3.0 is the vision that we can change that we can, make it decentralized again. So my vision for it is that we will start seeing a lot of new applications on top of the internet and the blockchain that will really be more efficient than their centralized counterparties. So when you remove a lot of intermediaries that don't really add value, you create more efficient alternatives, and the market always rewards efficiency. And so we will find out that there will be a decentralized Airbnb, there will be a decentralized Uber, there will be a decentralized Google, maybe decentralized Wikipedia. And these guys will basically outperform their centralized competitors. So I think there is no single outcome in which the Web 3.0 vision is not realized.
Now, while I've got you on the show as well, I've got to ask, do you think the flippening is on the horizon where Ethereum will eventually topple Bitcoin? Do you think that's much sooner than people think?
Absolutely. I think everything that, every prediction on the crypto world just happens faster. Because of the network effects it has. You have a lot of people that own these tokens, own Ethereum, and they really want these things to happen. And what is happening right now is that Ethereum is kind of converting, is kind of making itself be the dollar to make kind of a comparison with traditional currency. And Bitcoin is kind of the gold. Bitcoin moves slow. They really have huge development cycles, while Ethereum just moves fast. And with Ethereum, you will be able to do a lot of things. You will be able to buy a lot of services that you will not with Bitcoin, mainly because with Ethereum, you have a lot of different tokens that let you buy decentralized storage or decentralized computing. A lot of these things, right? And with Bitcoin, you just have a very good store of value that it will not break. So yeah, I think Ethereum will surpass Bitcoin in market cap probably this year.
And if we do fast forward 3 to 5 years from now, do you think there will be similar stories of many cryptocurrencies, such as Aragon, that are currently a few dollars and they'll be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the same way that Ethereum and Bitcoin has? I know I'm asking you to go in your crystal ball here. I'm just curious on your opinion on that.
Yeah, obviously I cannot really give investment advice on our own token, but I think, I think we are just seeing how the whole token economy is getting started. So if you look at the tokens that are out there that let you buy, like I said before, like decentralized computing and other platforms, they are very early. For example, prediction markets. Prediction markets will be huge. And right now they are not even deployed and used and mainly used on the mainnet, right? Yeah. So when that arrives, I think the whole value of all the token economy will really increase, and I think it will happen the same to all the tokens that have really have a utility. There are of course a lot of tokens that are just scams and don't have any real utility, and those will drop in value. But I'm really looking forward to next year. I think next year will be the year where when a lot of these tokens that we see today that are worth nothing will really be worth a lot of money because they have actually utility.
Yeah, I think it's an incredibly exciting time to be at the moment, and there does seem to be more and more people wanting to learn more and get involved with it. But one question I did want to ask, from a personal point of view, and for many listeners that might be thinking about of just having a play and investing very low levels of money in there, if they picked up a selection of cryptocurrencies across the board, let's say Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, MadeSafe, and Aragon from sites such as Coinbase or Polynex, and they wanted just to invest and forget about it for a few years, do they still need to take those coins off their sites of the brokers and into an offline wallet? And in your opinion, is that the best way to do it? And are there any that you recommend?
Absolutely. I think the history of cryptocurrencies and mainly Bitcoin has demonstrated that you cannot trust central exchanges with your money. Exchanges get closed for a lot of reasons. And so I think the best way to store cryptocurrencies today is to get a hardware wallet. Hardware wallets are small devices that you plug in via USB to your computer, and they have your private key in there, and it doesn't even go out of there. So it doesn't really connect to the internet, which is kind of the huge attack vector because someone may hack your computer and get your private key, right? So there are a couple of ones. My favorite, the one that I use is called Ledger, and then there is another one called Trezor. And any of these really add a lot of security to your cryptocurrency holdings.
So what happens, because I'm a clumsy guy, so let's say I've invested and I've got one of those devices and I lose it, or I lose it down the back of the sofa, or it drops out of my pocket, and I'm just going to cry and be drinking into my beer with hard luck stories for the rest of my life. Is there any backup on that?
Yeah, obviously you're going to have multiple backups of your private key and all of that in paper. But I think that's the most secure way to have your private key stored and never touching the internet. That's the important part.
Excellent. Well, a huge thank you for your advice there. The Aragon token sale was the 4th highest funded crowd sale ever in any category. And I've got a feeling that listeners will be wanting to hear more about you guys and what you do. So can you point them in the direction of your website and how they can contact either yourself or a member of your team if they just wanted a little more information?
Yeah, of course. So our website is aragon.one, and also you can join our community, our Slack community on aragon.chat. And then we also have an email in case you want to say something. It's contact@aragon.one. And yeah, we're looking to see people that want to use the platform and how we can work with them to meet the features they want.
Fantastic. Well, again, I've loved speaking with you today, and there's just so many great so many great topics that we've covered, and it's really opened my eyes to a lot of things. So a big thank you for coming on the show today, Lewis.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
Wow, I absolutely loved speaking with Lewis tonight. He really opened up my eyes. I've been following the cryptocurrency scene for some time now, and I feel like dipping my toes into the water. And having spoken to him there, I think I'm going to do just that. But I think the most important thing to remember is it is an incredibly volatile market. So anyone that is thinking of investing, do your research first and never put in what you cannot afford to lose, because it is a bit of a gamble. And who knows, maybe the fact that you listen to this show tonight, in 5 years' time from now, maybe you might be thinking, remember when I listened to that podcast, I bought a few dollars worth of Aragon and now I've got thousands of pounds. That's maybe that could happen, maybe it couldn't. I'm not qualified to make any judgments like that, but I hope you've enjoyed the show and at least got you thinking and talking about cryptocurrencies in a much more positive manner. But as always, let me know your thoughts. You can get me on Twitter at Neil C. Hughes. You can email me directly at techblogwriter@outlook.com. Or you can comment this episode over at my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. But a huge thanks for Lewis for coming on and sharing his story today. And an even bigger thank you for you guys taking the time to listen to the show. So until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.